Recently, there has been a staggering increase in the amount of people taking up creative pastimes. Sales of wool have risen by 30%, fabric designer Kath Kidson has enjoyed a 60% leap in profits, and Hobbycraft have almost doubled their takings. Until recently, many people thought of arts and crafts as old-fashioned, but lately there has been something of a revival. Young adults are orchestrating a takeover, and the future of craft scene looks set to have a very different face. So why are today's young people suddenly becoming known as the creation generation?
I think there's definitely been a big sea change within the movement. Obviously before it was thought of as kind of a more mature thing to take up.
The University of Gloucestershire has more than 30 societies for its students to get involved in. One that has been an unexpected hit with this year's fresher is the Craft Society Bits and Bobs. Each week its members meet up to try their hand at a variety of crafts, swap tips and socialise.
I'm Helen and I guess I'm the co-president of Bits and Bobs Society.
I sort of run and started with Helen this Bits and Bobs Crafting Society. Basically, it's just a place for people to come together and create, because I can do all this stuff by myself, but to be honest with you, sitting by yourself is pretty boring. And being around other people who you can talk to about your different projects and learning from other people and giving other people the chance to learn how to do things is something I'm really interested in.
I think it's just good for people to get together really and not be working in a vacuum, because it is something that's so sort of easy to just do at home and not get out and show other people your project. I think it just really helps to meet with like-minded people.
Arts and crafts have become a viable business prospect, and over the past 2 years there has been a rise in the number of enterprising young people selling products that they have made themselves.
My business is called I Look Pretty and I've been doing it for about a year. I take my inspiration from everything I can't find on the high street. I think if you go into one high street shop, you kind of look at the jewellery and it's exactly the same in the next shop. So I like to pick things that you can't find and things that make people smile, really. I source my materials from absolutely everywhere. Some of the cake rings I make are made out of Fimo clay, so I sit and make those myself. Some of these are buttons, some of them are vintage buttons I found on old cardigans and things, and I kind of used the old materials to make brand new things. It did start off as a hobby, yeah, and then I thought, well, why not give it a go as a business and see how it goes, and it's been fantastic.
Although arts and crafts may commonly be thought of as a girls' hobby, the creative revival has seen artistic people from both genders making things for themselves.
Things like knitting obviously tends to be mainly female. Yeah. But yeah, I think there's definitely a big crossover.
I just graduated from university last summer studying graphic design, and since then I've been trying to get into doing design for bands in the music industry. And some of my friends a few weeks ago were holding an exhibition, and because they knew I designed lots of t-shirts for bands, they asked me to design a t-shirt just off my own back just to sell at this exhibition. Everything seems very such clean design, very clinical nowadays, with loads of iPhone apps you get, just with iPhones in general, everything looks really it's hard to explain, but really incredibly professional and slick looking. And I guess people might be a bit kind of fed up of that, and they want something a bit more tangible and a bit more that you can, I don't know, handmade. And yeah, I guess people just doing it themselves, I guess.
Technology is all really advanced. Some people have kind of gone against that. I can't afford an iPhone, so I'll just sew something instead of playing silly games on a bloody iPhone.
Everything being so mass produced, because I think maybe people my age growing up sort of remember the first stage of things being handmade and being able to buy things locally, and then everything sort of stopped, and for that whole generation there was nothing apart from things that were sort of imported in, so it's definitely a reaction to that. I think a lot of sort of celebrity knitters came out, didn't they, a few years back, and I think that helped people take it up.
As well as the social and business opportunities attracting young people to craft, there are a number of other factors affecting its revival.
I think it's about being able to finish something. Like at uni, when you've got a million projects and you're supposed to be doing them, and they're all so big and there's so much to do, just spending 20 minutes to complete something, to have something whole and finished, is really satisfying, I guess.
young people are just kind of doing it because it's cool as well. That's another reason. It's very cool. It's quite nice to know how to do these things. I think it's skipped a generation because like my gran knew how to do like everything, and my mum she can sew, but like she couldn't like knit or anything like that. So I think it's just sort of like one of those things that's kind of coming round again.
I think it kind of skipped a generation actually, because I'm 31 and no one I know is kind of really that into it, but then the one sort of under me has really sort of come up and come into it.
Like there's sort of things like the Women's Institute, and they've been, doing crafts for years and stuff, but that's getting quite popular now, and there's sort of like knitting groups like springing up everywhere.
I've got an Etsy shop and an eBay shop. I'm in the process of setting up my own website. I love selling online actually, it's fantastic.
Technological advances have benefited young business people over the last few years as multiple platforms have allowed them to sell their products online. We asked these graduates how they prefer to sell their products.
Through a website called Big Cartel.
With just stupid things like with the economy, I mean, like with the tax, like the VAT going up, obviously clothes are more expensive for people to buy, so people might just be like, actually, do you know what, I'm going to learn how to sew and just make a top instead, or make a dress for a night out. So in that way it kind of makes sense for people to kind of learn these things. So yeah, it could go either way, but hopefully more craft in the future would be good.
So it seems arts and crafts have shaken off their granny image once and for all, and their future lies with the new generation. However, many of today's craft clubs and artistic new businesses wouldn't exist without the skills passed down by more experienced hands. Although today's young people will be the torchbearers for crafts in the future, they will be looking to the past for inspiration.
Happiness